Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Dakra. How are you all? Today has been a slow day for me, so I thought I'll start early here and had a restful day. All the excitement of the eclipse is all gone, and it was a phenomenal thing, right? So I saw my favorite reporter, representing the whole thing, so it was nice to see that. So I was uh, talking about the instance of the mental illness and how it has really increased by millions now. So why, after all the tremendous improvement uh, as a humanity, so much of technological improvement, so many people are still mentally ill. You know, is that one of the reasons that we always attend outwardly with tools that are designed for outward resolving. We're trying to do some apps for sleep induction, meditation, and all that. Hope that will work because the purpose that we used is for inner purpose. I would rely on ancient wisdom just to keep me sane and balanced and really in joy. See, it's not only it keeps kind of this neurotic behavior, this malfunction of the thought, but also keeps me in joy. That's where the trick is. So, whereas thought proliferation and thought network is the modern problem, stilling the thought, silencing the thought was the ancient uh, method of really reaching corners beyond the thought or states beyond the thought, right? So completely, kind of, we went inward at one time, and now we are always going outward, right? Uh, I am for one convinced that going outward is not a solution for mental illness. That is by caused by inner instability, inner running with the thoughts all the time, or emotional liability. That is what I think is something we should pay attention to. The clue that I want to give here for mental illness resolution is to be in awareness and use thought as a tool, not identify with a lot of thoughts that are coming and then lamenting that we are not able to control this mental illness that is caused by derangement of thought with the thought. See, I will narrate how this whole thing has developed was uh, as a child. I was in India, coming up as a child in a small town. I was not really bothered by so many things. I just have to come home and I have to come home and then study and really um, play with my friends. And life was very simple. It was a glorious childhood. It doesn't have all the amenities of Western life, or it doesn't have so many comforts. No, we didn't have any air conditioner at the time, but we kind of put up with the summer, and we stayed mostly afternoons in the home, and then we came out in the evening and played a lot. and we played a lot in the morning too. Heat was so bad, they used to send us home very early in the morning. But they scared by the teachers, they scared by the parents and other people also was very evident, because they were affectionate and really helpful and nurturing, right? All that really helped us to be psychologically secure and strong. You know, we didn't realize the greatness of the structure of the culture and the society that led to that. But then, like anybody else, they are also swept by the Western culture, and now they have the same problems of West. Okay, mental illness increase, substance use increase, suicidal rates, and then this sexual assaults, and then general violence increase, and also this mad rush to things that was missing. Now it is prevalent, much more so. They are more American than Americans are. If you look at the Indian relatives and families and all that, they are more American, more westernized, and so they lost the, they don't really know the meaning of their culture. They don't really know what are the great things that the ancient cultures have done. They deviated from it. They become more religiosity, more of not understanding what is the big deal about these things. So, in one word, I would say a clue to mental illness resolution is looking at how we use thought and how we fail using thought inwardly and really miss out. But the cultures that were based a long time ago on stilling the thought, stopping the thought, going beyond the thought, and knowing states that are beyond thought, they have done very well. Okay, so that's what I'm present to you guys to look at that, and see how can we use thought to do stuff outside, but then can we be in that silent state where we are very powerful, and it's not only just making it quiet, but it does result in uh, joyful, blissful feeling. That's why I kind of climb up on the roofs and talk about this, because all the systems were after two things. One is to how can we resolve the extraordinary suffering that people will go through the life towards anything. That's one thing. The other thing it does is being in awareness is leading you to this fulfillment and joy that is really much more than getting joy from things or whatever activities we do. So that's why sitting down, calming down, and going inward and finding that silence, establishing yourself, that was important for ancients. I'm saying that we do it like a retreat, maybe I want to get away from this painful activity or painful circumstances so that I can keep quiet. But we are doing that with the chemicals, with uh, artificial things that are not needed, provided you kind of really reactivate your own inner silence, inner stability of mind or emotions. This is possible if you understand what is that they are talking about beyond thought, why they are saying thought is limiting. How can you be unlimited, but at the same time use the thought? Don't identify with thoughts. Ask yourself, where are they coming from? Who are they having this thought? Then you will see that you are unnecessarily identifying with the thoughts that is arising as your maybe persona or your own personality, and then you may identify them because of the emotional insecurity you suffer, all that, right? It is not one, it is happening with many, right? So that's why the thought related problems, for me depression is a thought construct, negative thought. construct depression eventually. And anxiety, looking into the future, that is thought construct. So both are thought construct and both are not in the present. Both are away from the present. So for me, being here and now in the present is life. That is a real life. But anything else, overcrowding that in the head, that's not really being in the present. So, if suppose you are in the yesterday memories, or yesterday something happened and you're remembering it and you're suffering because of that, that's for me is away from life, you know, in your head. So don't be in your head, be aware, be in the present. I think that will resolve a lot of times. If you do it from the beginning, you won't even have these illnesses that much, you know. Suppose some event happened, like a death, a divorce, or destruction of the property because of the natural events, and you come out of it and say, "Thank God I'm alive, so I'm going to rebuild again." You know, I love that when I see with Americans devastated by the flood or fire or whatever accident, they come out and say, "What can we do? We are happy that we are alive. At least our family members are alive. So we're going to rebuild." Lots of times people lose their life also because of the natural events. Then you may be down, but still, even at them, what do we say? Have a control of your thoughts and then look forward or replace the thoughts into from negative to positive. That's what we say to them, you know. And the people who are clinically depressed and people who are really so anxious they cannot go out, there definitely medications will be used. But general, when somebody becomes sad because of a small trivial thing, we should be educating them to be aware of that and to come out of that. So understanding the difference between the thought and awareness, and making the awareness come to the front, and then use the thought in the back, but don't let the thought ruling you, you know. That's something I live, and see the evidence of joyful existence, and then really natural joy comes out of you when you are not depending on external events and external accumulation of things and all that. Okay, so there is a big treasure of happiness and joy within us, but we spoil it with our thinking negatively or positively, or thinking going back into the past or going into the future, but not enjoying the current moment, what is in front of you. I think as a child we may do that a little bit, but as we grow up, we kind of lose that. Do we have to do that? You know, is there a way just to be aware? Yeah, I have a thing that I follow in the morning when I get up. Usually, that is a very crucial time. I just want to stay with what I feel about the presence, right? I feel present. I wake up aware, okay, I'm here. I woke up, this is what I, and then immediately, if I let my thoughts crowd me, then I'm lost. So what you do is you stay with your awareness for a while, and that feeling of being here. One easy way to do it is take deep breaths and be in touch with the air coming in and out of the nose. At the tip of the nose, you can feel the touch of the air. Then you will be here and now. Okay, and the thoughts also slow down. So cultivate that. First thing when you get up, sit on the edge of the bed, and if need, you can close your eyes and then take 10 deep breaths. Then open your eyes, look around. What is here? And look out of the window. What is the weather like? You know, like that you cultivate by some means to be here and now and touch with the life around you. Garden you have, go into the garden, check out the flowers, check out the trees, listen to the birds, and all that is happening in life currently. Get in touch with that, you know. And I do an hour of awareness in my wellness club, where I emphasize this entire hour. they may not be able to do the entire hour, but the focus of as a teacher, as somebody who is leading that group, I kind of try to be in the present. I don't bring any conversation. I just focus on stretching and straining the body and deep breathing it so that we kind of breathe into the more oxygen into our tissues, and then we may focus at the end of it to be meditative, and then go out into the world in that meditative awareness of the presence. Meditative awareness of the presence. Meditative because thoughts have stilled. Awareness because you are in the moment. Okay, meditative awareness in the present. And carry that like a perfume for your entire activities. All you do is every activity you do, you pay complete attention through the day, right? And in between, come back to your deep breathing whenever you have a chance, okay? In front of the red light, or going in the corridors, or listening in a meeting. So many opportunities are there where you don't have to let your mind go beyond what is needed for, and then slip back into your silent awareness. Use the breathing to do that. And then when you are done your job, when you are coming home or reach home, go back to really reviewing whatever happened in the day that took you away from that meditative awareness present. Then look at them and dump them, and then unwind and go to bed. Okay, this is not like this modern tennis of have fun, think whatever that comes and keep the thoughts to me, don't express them, play that game of being friendly outward, inwardly you are having a different dialogue. That's all unnecessary, right? Be genuine. If you can be friend, if you are not, you are going to not get along with this person, walk away. Don't let your mind go unnecessary. Focus on whatever you want to do. What is the constructive thing you do? What are the contributions you can make to the house or to the institute that you are working or you are running? That kind of thing. All this gossipy nature of social media, of non-important things and just a few laughs. Is that worth having a mental illness epidemic? So that's a deeper question. I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm only reacting to what is currently is there. So much increase in mental illness, so much increase in drug addiction, so much increase in violence, so much increase in suicidal rates. All these, I think, if we really look at it, we are concerned about the kids or and the people who are suffering this mental illness. Then you want to look at things that are worked one time. See, that's where I get the inspiration. As I looked at the lives of these people who have stilled the thought successfully, who have gone beyond the thought and stayed in silence all day, and then some, then I see the glow, the important contributions in their books, writings, or whatever, and how they healed some people directly. All those things are really fantastic. So they were really loving, they were very affectionate, they don't have this malfunction of modern people with church leaders and all misbehaving with the kids. That was unheard of. Some of the sages you kind of read about and learn their wisdom, learn their views on life and world and our relationship to it and all that, right? So think about it, understand it, and have an insight into this by investigating into the what I put a question. Do we need to be identified with a thought? Do we need to be suffering like this as a community, as people with so much increase in mental illness? You may put it on the rug and go and work, but you are missing out of the chance of being joyful by yourself without taking any medications. or without any drugs. I don't drink beer also. I don't drink wine. I don't drink anything. I used to have wine once in a while when I was working as a physician. I had to go to some parties and all that, but I didn't really drink that much. I never smoked. I never used illegal drugs. But then the wine also, after a while, after I started to meditate and control my thought and really arrived at a place where it is kind of stilling of thought was possible. I could not handle even a smell of wine. So maybe it was 15, 20 years ago, I might have taken once in a while one glass of wine, but now I don't. So my son takes it, some of the people take it, but I don't really restrict them. They have to come to their own decision, but they are not alcoholics. There's a social, they say. That also I don't encourage with my patient. They say, "Oh, doc, is it good if I take a glass of wine every day? I will have vasodilation of the coronaries." I said, "No, no, you leave them alone. Don't take anything. Your vasodilation will be fine." So that kind of thing. So doctors also don't allow it anymore because we have seen incidents of alcoholism much more even elderly ladies. That's the latest menace. So but they will grow into it anyway. So if you are naturally joyful, naturally stable in your thought and emotions, why do you want to rig it up with entertainment or social habits of drinking alcohol or gossip and all that? You don't need that, right? So you have a chance of living a human life that is away from all suffering and also in joy and bliss. So I think that itself is a blessing, and the blessing is because I kind of put awareness to the front and thought to the back. I'm not saying thinking is bad. I'm saying how we use the thinking maybe needs revision. Okay, may needs to say like Rene Descartes when he said, I think, therefore I am." You may have to look at that. Are you just thinking, or is there something beyond the thinking? Go and explore, land in there, and experience it. Then you will understand what I'm talking about. So the people who say, "No, no, we are very intelligent thinkers," yeah, that's fine. But then, where this thinking leading us to all the racism, all the sexism, and all the violence against each country? That's all because of the divided nature of thought, right? So we want to think about it. So my clue to mental illness is to be aware, to be landing in that life of awareness, in the present, live properly in the present, and then use the thought for proper purposes, outward things, think about running things. That's all okay. But it comes to inner nature. Thought is only a means to reach that real inner nature. When thought quiets down, then what is inside will reveal itself. That is the essence of yoga, where they said yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is stilling the modulation of the mind, modulation of the thoughts, right? And tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. This is Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It's like a manual of what is real yoga, how to do it. There's nothing to do with Hindu religion. It was born long before that. Even then, Hindu religion also invited everybody to be, embraced. And then the people who they embraced, they kind of destroyed them too. So now they also become like that. Okay. So current Hindu people, they don't really follow what I'm talking about, the ancient wisdom. So they are as much like Westerns in pursuing to the worldly pleasures or out there, or accumulation of things and doing stuff, rather than really going for the being, which was the ancient Indians did. They are not Hindu. They don't never identify with that. So there is like if you want to understand, there is a ritualistic portion and there is a uh, knowledge inquiry based portion. That one was the epitome of ancient wisdom, and I caught hold of that. I don't want to be influenced by the modern religiosity, really forget about inquiry, really forget about what is the true wisdom, embracing the entire world of the ancients. So now I embrace all the world because that's what they said. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That means the entire world is one family. So I really think my patients also, my extended family, everybody else is like that. My family. That is one of the prayers that they introduce for the yoga. Embrace everybody, embrace all cultures. Don't look at the superficial difference of color, sex, and race and all that, but look at the commonality of life force within all of us. That life force itself, they called uh, the real true nature of ours, and by stilling the thoughts we end up in the real true nature, because we are so wrapped up in thoughts. Be aware of that. And so very simple statement is, if you get comments, if you get worries, if you get so many projections of thought, then ask, who is it that is having these thoughts? Then it will be slowed down and you will not be identified with them. Then you look at your inner self, by turning inward. Okay? So this being inward awareness, they may sound like esoteric terms and they are very difficult. No, in modern time, this is so necessary. It's not just that's why this mental illness thing is so prevalent. So we can protect the current generation and the future generations just by investigating into this. Why do you have to think so much? Oh, I have too much thrown at me, information overload. Okay, reduce the information to the things that are meaningful to you. Okay, then uh, why do you have to go on thinking about the same thing again and again? Then drop it. That's one of the clues of the yoga is you don't clutch to anything. Just drop it. After it is done, drop it. This habit of um, unnecessarily holding on to things after they are dead is a problem. Okay, look at that. Then you will be able to don't live in the mental plane. Use the mind. Get rid of it. Be in the present plane. Be in the awareness. Awareness is always in the present. You got to be aware of what is going on, right? You are awake. You are alert and you are not sleepy, but your thoughts, judgments, everything quiet. So that is we call meditation. But do you need meditation if you don't have this chattering mind all the time? That's what I talk about. I am in meditative awareness. I don't have to sit down and do meditation anymore because I don't allow the thought to be, not like deliberately or forcibly, but just being aware of it, they drop down. Okay. Otherwise, you create another controller and control the thoughts and all that. You don't have to. Just be aware of what are these thoughts, where they came from, and all that. And then you will be in the present. And you won't be continuing your circle of thoughts. Once that is broken, you feel such lightness within you. Uh, and you feel like I don't think you need major gurus or teachers and all this for this because this is with you. Whether you want to be aware or you want to be in the past or future, that's up to you. So one simple way of looking at it is either I'm in my mind or I'm in life. The life is in the present. Okay, so that's how I feel about this, and I think it's very doable. Uh, but you see, you get to be away from addicted to thoughts, addicted to being in the past and the present and the future, and medications, drugs, and all that influence your mind. And all these things are not really important for you. Okay, so drop them. and don't allow the things that influence your mind. Caffeine, carbonated drinks, or energy drinks, or alcohol, drugs we talked about. All those things, get away from them. And get used to nature, get used to friendship, get used to people who are really, really like this. They want to be in the present, have a non-judgmental, accepting, embracing talks. That way we have true friends. Not that they have to think the same thing we are thinking, but they have the sense that we are human beings and we are friends. We are basically part of the same family of the human tribe, and thereby we are having this. They will see lofty ideas, but not really ideas. Actual fact is, we are all common in our life force. Beyond that commonality, rather than the differences, that is the wisdom of the ancients. Accept life anywhere, in the plants, in animals, in people. Look at the deeper uh, life force rather than superficial differences. And also, don't care for things that may not be here, and the houses, the cars, and all the. You will not take them with you. That's what they say, right? But then, how many people are attached to them, and how many people fight for them, for simple comforts, which you don't have to. The entire earth is the lap of your mother earth, right? Once you have that, house you have comfort, fine. How do you don't have, that is fine too. I remember one of the sages that I was reading, J. Krishnamurti, he used to say, he was sought after by common people, and also emperors, prime ministers, all those people who are very high. They sought his counsel, and they really approached him. And he said one time, I can sleep on a very good bed in a five-star hotel, and I can sleep on the floor in a farm. I have no difference, and that's how you get to develop some detachment, to the things that are not going to come with you. That is lacking too. So, on one hand, getting used to things that may not be helping us to get off this thought train, I call it, network or train. And on the other hand, we are missing out on being simple, being detached, and then being really in joy of life. Okay, so there's so much in being life rather than just experiencing life only. But you have to understand that, and then it will be in the present jovial thing. I'm not imagining this. Imagination is not there in the presence, in the present moment. Okay, that is the present moment. Not having a thought that is imagining or projecting and going forward away from where you are, and then fighting for something that you imagine. You enjoy now what is in front of you. That's why they said, "What is sacred." The sacred, the divine, the pure, the whatever perfection is there. That sacred is what is in front of us here and now. That is sacred. That means you are not going to dig into that past and bring something out, because that's not going to be sacred. You are not going to project forward and say, okay, this is me. I want to create this, so I will sacrifice the presence for the future. But even if you are doing for something like a project, like something else, you will be doing everything in the present, each moment, and they all accumulate towards the goal. Enjoy that moment, each moment. That is why it's meditative awareness, where you don't need special meditation, because your already mind is behaving itself quiet and calm and within itself. So if you make mind as the primary thing, and then you let the thoughts come unconsciously, and you have no idea about this, and then you go on thinking about something happened, or you go and think about something going to happen, you will be caught in the network of thought, and that is when you need to bring the thoughts together, and that is when you slow the thoughts, and that's when you want to identify each thought as negative or positive, and try to come to positive, and then you want to come to one thought and focus. These are the steps of the meditation. You go to one thought and go beyond the one thought into the silence of awareness. But if you are begin with, you are landed in the silence of awareness and let the thought come up for the things that you want to do, and then that is done. How wonderful that is. So that is why put the awareness to the front and thought in the back as a tool. You take it out when you need it and use it, and that is the difficulty thing for a lot of people. That's okay. You can take your time to go through this. It's not by taking some external chemicals. People are now using microdoses of LSD, things like that. Okay, from the beginning, what we saw was when you use these medications in higher doses for longer time, people are having actual damage to their brain and to their internal structures. Some people do it because they want to get the high of those, but then the distraction will be there. Instant gratification, and later on paying the price for it, painful price, right? Instead, you reverse that. I'm going to do anything that is for the long term, and it won't damage me. First, do no harm. You can do the same thing with yours. So be aware. Don't, even if you go around the social media talking several things, if you don't have a common purpose, if you don't have a complete alignment with what you are talking about, then you are going to gather a lot of what we call mala. Mala means dirt, and that dirt we let it accumulate in our mind, and that mind really sends all of them to the subconscious mind, and they stay there, and then they are more powerful. They project and come out, and you think that's natural, but actually choicelessly, what is there in you is your awareness. Thoughts come and go. If you can see it from the morning till evening, there are so many thoughts coming and go. If you hold on to them, that's not natural. If you use them and let it go, don't clutch. That is the yoga principle. In the yoga practice also, don't clutch anything that's happening. Study it, improve it, and let it go. Okay. Suppose you think, oh, I'm going to be gloriously looking good by doing yoga. You are missing the point. That's not the aim of the yoga. Yoga is to really energize whatever we have, but at the same time, don't clutch to them. Okay, because the body and the mind, they are going to be temporary. That's why there is a prayer where I say, Deham Naham Koham Soham. Deham, my body. The body includes both physical body and the mental body, right? I am not. Naham is I am not. Deham is the body of body mind complex. Naham, I am not. Koham is then who am I? Then it says Soham. Soham has two words. Aham means me. So means that universal energy. The, coming from that universal energy, I am part of the energy. I am that energy. So I am that. That is the answer. You see, Deham, Naham, I'm not this body mind complex. Who am I then? I am this universal energy that's coming through me as a local force, but it's actually that. That's why I am that. So that universal energy is I am, but I'm represented here in a minor way. But that's okay. Still, that is the perfection. Once you landed in that awareness, then that's very secure, serene, and joyful, blissful, because you don't have the movement of thought unnecessarily. You are no longer victim of past memories or future projections or any doubts, any fears, anything come up, then ask who is having this? Is that the real nature I found? That is the one that I found as the Soham, or is this superficial mind, cognitive nature of it that is going around, round, 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 round? so you don't allow the cycle to go on. Okay, I think I spoke a lot. Hopefully, it made sense to people, because I think how long I've been, around 40 minutes I've been speaking, So, anybody wants to come up and say anything? Did it make any sense, or um, any arguments or comments? That would be nice if you can come. Otherwise, you are not really participating in the dialogue. Passive listening is not good to do any good for anybody. It will reinforce my own beliefs and all of that. For me, it is a good exercise, but the people who are listening may not have gained anything. If you go on in the cyclical thought, you go on in the restless mind, that's too bad. But I really think the way the mental illness is going, we need to bring these kind of practices without bringing the religion, without bringing nationality, without bringing a parochial view. What we want to do in science is something is seen or proposed as a theory, we put it to test, right? We investigate the truth of the matter, and then once you have the evidence that this is really so, then we say, okay, we can also test it. Don't accept it, you can also test it. And then multiple scientists have done testing, and then they say this is so. Then what we do, we kind of adopt it and try it, right? That's how all the treatments, everything comes out. So there are centuries people practice this kind of lifestyle. But then the lifestyle changed with the moderns, where the what you are not, the ego, which you are not, which is your persona, has taken more importance. Lately, that's what everybody say, oh, my rights, me, and all that. But they don't understand you are all connected anyway. So that is one thing, modern times of ego, that is causing problems. And also profit, make things and then not just use for me, but then create a need for money and work for the profit. You need money for living, but do you need money for your psychological needs? That's the question. Okay, you can make money, but give it away too. You are working and you are making money, and part of it you can give it away too. So, that kind of attitude is very good for you too. Okay, many see, the strategy is many people are like take a household, or like a young woman who is having a career, who is having a marriage and a couple of kids, and this is actually happening, practice also. They have to, go and work, and also they have to come and take care of the babies and the husband, and the husband has to take care of her and all that. But somehow the ego comes, and then they may regret that I have been doing everything, nobody's helping me and all that. And then they feel desperate, and they start drinking a glass of wine in the evening to have some soothe. I'm saying, don't do that. Develop your own inner resilience by, so many natural things. Go to nature, make music, don't listen to music, make music. Then there's so many things you can do naturally, that can go garden, go take a walk, enjoy the nature, or write down some journal, write down something that's going to keep you busy here and now, rather than all the thoughts. Don't go for the simple things of taking a glass of wine. You know what happened to the girls? They took for a while, then they needed more, 2 glasses. Then it became 4 glasses. Then they became alcoholic. How tolerance? So you are selecting the wrong agent of external agent. It could be wine, it could be drugs, it could be entertainment, whatever. depending on those external agents, which become addictions, and lot of suffering from that too. On the other hand, you step into this inner joy of yours, which is not uh, from anywhere but from your own inner self. Then landing in that, you are strong, and also you are kind of really non-dependent, self-reliant. That's what I'm trying to teach my students also. Be self-reliant, not in a way egotistical, but in a way that you are good human being, have concern for other human beings suffering, and you want to share, and you want to don't preach them but stimulate them. I call this elevated thinking. Elevate their thinking so that they can find out stuff by themselves, so that they can see the truth by themselves, not dependent on any authority. And then they are free, right? They are free of instinct on their own. Only thing is, don't succumb to this temporary, simple measures that can become addiction down the line. Again, the Shreyas versus Prayas. Shreyas means long term gain, maybe currently painful, but long term gain. Prayas means instant gratification, but down the line, disaster. Okay, people are tending towards more instant gratification rather than taking some pain for the long term gain. You see, if you say it like that, they say, oh, we don't want to be any pain, as if not being pain as something natural. No, things will happen. Body will tell you that's painful because it is not agree to it. Then act intelligently. Okay, so what I listed about that woman having an offer happening to elderly women now. This was a recent study showed many of the elderly are really getting into alcoholic category, than before. Not all of them, but some of them, right? Many of them really, because loneliness, because they may have had family really grow up and then went off, and they don't have any to do with the older people. That is the cultural thing. Again, is ego. Again, trying to be selfish and all that, right? And then second thing is they may not have many resources that could sustain them. In Florida, they live in a wonderful neighborhood, but they are going hungry. They have money either for their drugs or for their meals. See, I have seen many of my patients that coming with that in Iowa. They said we can buy that insulin because then we will not have money to go and get the groceries. So, and these people worked 40, 60 years and then retired. So, this is a lopsided thing that you see. You only see the glare and colorful dreams that are presented. You don't see the actual reality of people suffering, loneliness, lack of resources, and lack of inner resilience and all. I see them as a healer and physician and informatician and all that. So I kind of express myself. That's all. Okay. So hopefully that makes some sense to people. Nobody wants to come even after all this. Don't want to participate in any dialogue. That is sad. Well, anyway, a few more days, I'll be done with my series, and then I'll be coming only occasionally, and I don't have to. But my observation about mental illness, what is, I got invited to that mental illness thing, and then there they are rolling around in their own thinking and cycling, and they don't have any foggiest idea about this awareness thing and all. So I posed a question: if the thought is the thief, or you're assuming it is the inspector and asking to go and find the thief, how will you do that? It's as simple as that. This was a famous question by Ramana Maharshi, the great sage, who was always lived in that awareness and silence all the time. And he's the one who encouraged her to ask, where are these thoughts coming? Who am I? Am I the thought bundle, or am I that inner self bundle? Okay, he was the one who asked about who am I, right? So he said, It's like you are asking somebody who stole some of yours. You are assuming that person is police, and going there asking him to catch the thief. It will never be caught. Okay, that is what is happening with the treatments of the psychological states and derangements, depression, anxiety. There is some role for the medications in organic psych illness like a schizophrenia, dementia, and all that. But then they are not really effective either. So there you stand. Okay, be aware that make it as the primary tool of your existence, really. And then use thought. It's a powerful force. Use thought carefully for external things. But don't assume thought assumed made structures like your ego, like your personality and all that are really going to help you in the long term. They won't. They will divide. They will create division, wars, and all that. That's what is happening, right? So be happy, be in the moment, be aware. Thank you.